Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network, your first stop for pop culture talk. I'm your host, Niko, and joined with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, we're just having a little bit of hockey talk as we tend to do prior to the recording here, guys. And 2-2 Edmonton, Florida. That game is on tonight, so maybe this might be a quick one. But very tight series, and hopefully that cup's coming home to Canada at least, if not Toronto. We've given up on that already. But anyways, this is our comic book review show here. We are here to talk about the weekly comics that we've read, not just hockey. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you want some more hockey talk, it exists on the channel. Make sure to go check those videos out. We have all kinds of things here on the Late Night Chat Network. Check out all of our other playlists and content out there. I actually filled in for our buddy Rob there with JT on the last coverage of the hockey playoffs there. I can't say that I did as good of a job, I'm sure, as he would have on the show, but I was there representing, and if since he was out of town for that episode. So definitely go check that out if you missed that. You want to hear some hockey talk with me and JT. Today we're going to be talking about the new comics that came out for the week of June 11th. 2025, and spoiler warning as always if you're worried about your books being spoiled, because we're going to be talking about what happens in them and showing off some of the artwork here today. You can always read your books and then come back. All right, Chris.
All right, let's talk comics.
Cheers. Let's talk some comics. Cheers. All right, first up on the docket here today, One World Under Doom #5. I got the Pepe Larraz, or no, is it RB Silva cover? Sorry, he did a variant cover, I think, here. Even though he's the ongoing series artist, I got that one. That's a nice one. Is that an Alex Ross one? Who did that one?
No, who's this? I don't know, BM or something. I don't know.
You got a dinosaur one behind there too, Chris, that I see, or is that the
last one? Number 4.
Okay, yeah, but One World Under Doom, we're, I guess, over the halfway mark here of this. Was it 8 issues this series, or was it 9 or something? I forgot.
I don't know where it's at. I think it's taking a pause for a month, though, it seems.
Yes, it says that we're not going to get an issue next month. It comes back in 2 months, they told you at the end, which I didn't know, which I was kind of actually a little disappointed about. I was like, oh, man, what the hell? Like, you're just going to leave us for 2 months now without another issue of this? But I think it's supposed to be 9 issues. Anyways, we're at like the halfway mark here right now, I feel like. But what do you think of this, Chris?
I know, Doom's dooming. I'm liking this. I'm liking the series. I hear there's not much love for this out there, but
really,
it's good stuff that's going on.
I like it.
I got Doom there. Like, what a way to start the issue, though. A nice, whatever picture of Doom, and just the way he's always talking and all this. He's got all the upper hand. And then, he takes care of business with Dormammu. He's ordering around Scarlet Witch, and everybody's, kind of second guessing his orders. And then it seems that he does banish Dormammu, but only as long as he's the ruler of the earth. And I think Thor, he chirps in there saying, where I come from, kings or, having sort of rulers isn't out of the norm. And, it sort of works out sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So they're really kind of shifting the tone here, even among the heroes. So that was kind of interesting to see. Like, I don't know if they're just setting us up for the fall. They're trying to get us to fall for Doom, and start to believe in him too, and then pull the rug out from under us. But I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying where this is going. It's not going anywhere where I thought it would be, and it's working for me.
Yeah, same. I think the art's been great. The story's been interesting. Like you just mentioned, I haven't been able to really predict where the story is going. I mean, I just checked. It is 9 issues. We're over the halfway mark for this event. And the whole time they've really just been focused on making us believe that Doom is actually trying to do the right things in these situations here and actually help people. And so far he has done a good job in terms of like cleaning up certain messes. Obviously there's the conversation that's had even in this issue, but these are messes that he basically made himself. And maybe this is why he's trying to do these things to make himself look good. But, so there's a lot of questionability, obviously, amongst all the heroes. But yeah, like you said, it's interesting to hear Thor chime in and actually say, yeah, you know what, I see no problem here, and people getting in his face and disagreeing with it, and yeah, it's really divided. I mean, usually it's a divide of people on either side fighting each other during these events, and in this one, it's more of a divided opinion, honestly, on a person who's been a long time villain of the Marvel universe. I think that's a great angle for an event. You can get a lot done and a lot of interesting story being told here without having to throw a lot of punches. Yeah, I'm liking this. So you've heard people aren't liking this event. I'm surprised. I love Doom.
Yeah, I love Doom, and I don't think they're betraying sort of Doom's persona or anything. He's true to character, and everything's sort of making sense. I'm like I say, I'm enjoying this thoroughly.
Yeah, good
And
stuff.
I'm looking forward to reading when it comes out.
Yeah. Yeah, Maria Hill shows up at the end. That's a big thing too, who used to be obviously big former Shield agent, big character in the Marvel universe during especially the Bendis Avengers years back in the 2000s. Huge character back then, but then as
yeah, doesn't she say something here at the end that she knows what Doom's really up to or something like that?
Yes.
Kind of a little bit of an ominous tone there that maybe something is awry.
Yeah, and she hasn't really been at the forefront of things for quite some time here because of the dissolution of Shield. Ever since that's kind of not being a thing, the driving force of the Marvel universe, which I'm sure aligned with the films at the same time whenever they decided to do that, because it's not a big thing in the movies anymore. So yeah, seeing her show up, it was certainly unexpected. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I also liked one more thing I forgot to mention. Ryan North did write an ongoing series of Squirrel Girl years ago that was pretty popular, at least for certain people that read it, and he that was one of his first big Marvel gigs, I think. And so it made sense that she showed up and she had a few pages of dialogue in this issue. She was helping out amongst all the wreckage and stuff like that of the fallout of the Doom stuff in Dormammu versus Dormammu in this issue. And at first I'm like, well, that's weird. What's Squirrel Girl doing here? I was like, oh yeah, he likes this character. He wrote her for I think it was a long run, 30 or 40 issues or something. It was pretty popular, more all age type book. I feel like it was. So anyways, what'd you give this?
Yeah, I give it a 4.
Same. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Good stuff. Then we got Robin and Batman, Jason Todd, #1. I grabbed the Jeff Lemire cover here. I think this is the only one I've pre-ordered. It's a 3-issue series, oversized. But I'll probably definitely pick up the hardcover when it comes out, like I did the other series they did. But yeah, it's Jeff Lemire writing, Dustin Nguyen back on art. They've already done one of these Robin miniseries, but I think the last one was on Dick, and this one's on Jason Todd.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, I remember reading the last one, and I thought it was okay, but this one, oof, the art in here is just insane. It's incredible. It's that watercolor art.
Yeah,
you can almost kind of see the watercolor paper underneath everything, and almost the word bubbles take away from the art there. I was really impressed with these pages like this here. That's just great stuff, and the story, it's pretty good. The way they have Jason Todd kind of almost as a little bit of a psychopath there, and you have Alfred and Bruce, kind of talking about things, and worried that maybe this Jason Todd is sort of irredeemable or something, or that it might be too much for them to handle. And I guess we sort of realize in the future what Jason Todd sort of becomes, that they might be right about that. But I guess, who are they fighting here? This cuckoo guy and some of his gang. I think Batman almost has to pull Robin out of the picture for a little bit, and then they get a chance to go back to get another crack at him, as he says. And it looks like Robin sort of takes the earpiece out, and Batman's sort of in the dark about things, and you think he's just gonna freaking pound the crap out of him, and then he kind of, the smoke clears, and you just see freaking a bloody pulp of this cuckoo guy character.
Yeah.
And Batman saying, "What the heck did you do? What the heck is this? What happened?" But then I guess they almost kind of take a step back, and it's revealed I don't know if that Wraith is a new character or something, but there's some character out there that is trying to, almost like a Punisher type character, dealing some justice. And they do delve into some of his family life, which was a little bit on the brutal side as well. So
Yeah.
you can kind of feel for this guy.
Yeah. No, I like this first issue a lot. I mean, the only reason I didn't pre-order the other ones is that because I'm making cuts to my list. And I'm like, I know I'm going to probably buy the hardcover of this to match up with the other one on my shelf. So I'm like, you know what? I only got this one because Lemire did the first cover variant and he hasn't done the other two variants. So I'm like, okay, I'll get a Lemire cover. I'll check this out. This was really good. I likewise, I agree with you. The watercolor Dustin Nguyen art's great. And my favorite moment was actually when Alfred spoke to him, and he wasn't on Jason's side. Like Batman was struggling to kind of figure a way in to help this kid, and he's like, "Yeah, sometimes you just can't." He's like, "What do you?" He's like, "I don't know." Just like,
well, you're not saying anything here, Alfred. Well, you told me if I don't got anything nice to say, maybe I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah, it was kind
Something to that effect.
brutally honest. Yeah, but I'm like, obviously because we know what happens to Jason Todd, and like you said, they do reveal some stuff about like his family life and stuff in this. Not reveal, but like go into it a little bit more because I'm sure that was already some pre-established stuff. But I just really like these miniseries. I hope they do them with all the Robins. I don't know if that's their plan.
Yeah, if that's the case, if that's the plan, if they take their time with it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one here, but I think I'm liking this one better than the first one even.
Yeah, but he keeps finding like interesting, like humanizing moments and angles to really kind of examine these characters in this series. Like they're still, out fighting crime and everything else, but like amongst all that stuff, you also got some great like actual character moments and like you said, some real life brutal type stuff going on in this story and matched with the art. Yeah, it's really good, strong stuff, and you don't really see Lemire doing big two superhero stuff as often. So I'm glad that he's coming back and doing this mini again with Dustin Nguyen. And I hope they do it with all of them. As soon as I saw that, I realized that this one was a different Robin. I was like, oh, that'd be cool. They could do one with Damian, one with Tim Drake. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that would be really interesting if they did that. So Stephanie Brown, and then there's what's her name? Cassandra Cain. There's got lots of options here, right? So what'd you give this, Chris?
I'm giving 4.25.
I agree. Yeah, great first issue. I'm looking forward to the next one. And yeah, this, like I said, this is going to be another 3-issue oversized series. They don't really overstay their welcome with these, so that's another good part about them. Next up, we got Giant Size Amazing Spider-Man #1. I just got the A cover for this one.
Yeah, me too.
But as I was telling Chris, I unfortunately wasn't able to read this in time for the show. I think I only read pretty much the first story, the Kevin Smith one. So go ahead, Chris. Why don't you let us know what you thought of these?
Well, I wasn't looking forward to this too much. And then, as it sort of crept up on us, they kind of saying there's some big things happening in here that are going to, shake the Marvel universe. I don't know about that. I did enjoy the first story with Kevin Smith. It was, I thought it was well drawn, and it was a funny story.
Yeah.
With what he rips his, I forget who he's fighting. He's fighting Mysterio in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, you get a chance for, I don't know who the artist was, but he's flexing some muscle there where he gets a chance to draw the Sinister 69. That's a fun page to look through. And basically, it's almost like a bit of a history of Spider-Man all in there with sort of all the characters in there. But anyways, then he's going on to try and fix his costume. Why he goes to Doctor Strange, I don't know. But, Doctor Strange sort of directs him over into to Reed Richards. And I guess he kind of interrupts some sort of battle with Psycho Man or something. And he gets them all on track. And they set him up with, I guess, one of their type of costumes, the unstable molecule. And that sort of tracks with me. I remember back in the day, Spider-Man used to always sort of hang out with Fantastic Four, at least be welcome there all the time. You don't see that too much anymore in the newer comics, but it was a fun story. It's something. It reminds me of a story like out of Marvel Age or something, because at the end you have Reed Richards there almost trying to sell his unstable molecule uniform. I thought that was fun.
I like this one. I'm just going to quickly comment on this one because it's the only one I read. It's been a while since I've read Kevin Smith, him write anything. I know he's been writing some other things, I feel like, for Dark Horse, and he pops up here and there, like doing some other stuff, but like I haven't seen him do any like Marvel or DC stuff in a minute. Yeah, like you said, this was funny. He did bring some of his humor to it. The dialogue was good. And the best thing I could say about it was the dialogue wasn't fucking crazy Kevin Smith like dialogue, like
Yeah.
when he first started writing comics back in the day, like with DC stuff, like with and Daredevil, the first with Joe Quesada. Holy crap, word diarrhea all over the page. Like it was like long, like the word balloons were taking up and ruining the art of some of his stuff, that his early stuff, because I guess he couldn't get out of the whole mind frame of writing scripts to comics essentially. But after a while, he did get better at that. So like this is like here you can't even tell that's an issue anymore in this short story. So like I quite liked it, and the art was good, and the art was Giuseppe Camicoli and Danielle Orlandini, who I'm not familiar with that person, but yeah, it looked good. So I like this one as well. But how about this next one here, Chris? I think
Well, in that first story too, what I forgot to mention, I think you know when that Deadpool shows up,
yeah,
that's supposed to be a little tip to the hat to the Marvel crossover, because I think right before Deadpool shows up, I think Doctor Strange was talking about some tear in the fabric of time, and it's Peter Parker or whatever, Spider-Man's there trying to fix a tear in his costume, and he mentions it. So I don't know. I didn't pick that up on my own. I think I read that, and I don't know where I read it, somewhere out there online.
Okay. Then the next one I think is an Al Ewing story here.
Oh, was that the yeah? I don't know about the 6'6" story. That was kind of crazy. I thought the art was decent for this, but yeah, this wasn't a good story. I don't even I don't even remember what happened in there. Or they're trying to find the human or the original Torch. I thought this was going to go in a bad way, but it's just more of an homage to sort of the origins of Marvel or something like that.
Okay. And then
Yeah,
the next
right
one.
there.
Next one, we got a Chip Zdarsky story with him and Cafu on art.
Yeah, this one was okay. A big fan of Chip Zdarsky. I think he was tasked here with sort of creating a new hero, and who knows if Marvel's going to be pushing this guy or not. It's almost like Quicksilver from the X-Men movies. Like you don't see him running fast, but he slows down time and just kind of walks around and does stuff to protect things. And I know, I guess his father was working for some sort of company, and then he made some sort of breakthrough, and that's when Electro showed up and he zapped whatever sort of serum that they had, and his son had it. And now his dad is sort of dying, but he sort of projects almost like a bubble that he can move quickly through. And he has to use that to try and save his father before he dies. It's an okay story, but it seems sort of forced, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah. And then at the end, you get like a prelude to the Kid Venom series, it looks like here.
Yeah, I don't know about this Kid Venom either. I don't know. I didn't like that at all. I wasn't a big fan of, or I wasn't too excited when they talked about it. Somehow this Kid Venom's coming to the 616 or something. Whatever. This giant sized Spider-Man. It seemed to be all more hype than substance.
What would you give this overall?
I give it 3.5.
I only read the Kevin Smith story, so I'm gonna just rate that
Yeah, I
one.
did enjoy the Kevin Smith, and the Chip Zdarsky story is good. It's always nice to see him doing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But once again, I felt he was. I always feel this guy's getting pushed around. He can't write what he wants.
Right. So yeah, I mean the Kevin Smith one's like 3.75, but I'm not rating the whole thing. It could have
Yeah.
been changed based on the other two stories. For me. All right, Chris. Yeah, I got another number one release here. You read Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman, number one.
Yeah, I just read this one online, following up, with the Wonder Woman backstories. And I think this was written by Tom King. So it's Tom King, right? Not or Tom Taylor.
No, it's King. Yep.
It's Tom King, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I've enjoyed what he's been writing in the Wonder Woman stuff, and he's been doing those backup stories. So I had some sort of familiarity with what's going on, or at least with part of the story, or some of the characters at least. And here, I think whatever you have, Lizzie, I guess you end up meeting sort of three different versions of Wonder Woman's daughter. I guess there's Lizzie, the little girl, and then there's sort of an 11-year-old or 12-year-old, and then one that's a little bit older, like a 17, 18-year-old one. and she's, I don't know, in some universe trying to catch one of the super sons, I guess, that have been turned into dogs. You know, this was part of a story
Corgi.
somewhere in there, yeah, in the backups. And then Pariah shows up there. And they start talking about him, and it's kind of nice to see Pariah there. You know, it sort of adds some unexpected weight to the story because he's just watching all these universes collide. And you don't know kind of how he fits in, and he kind of meets up with Lizzie there as she's trying to find the dogs, and then she tells her story, where she is and what's going on. So supposedly there's some time bubble going on, and the three of those Wonder Girls are sort of bouncing around through time to try and find these dogs because they stole one of the bubbles. But you know, for the story itself, I thought it was a decent story. You know, the writing is great. You know, the conversations or the dialogue between all the different Wonder Girls from each time was fun. You know, I think this is better than I thought it would be. And then at the end, somehow they got Steve Trevor popping in, and you know he's like at some loom of, you know, some fate of, or some loom of fate, almost like from the Wanted movie or series, I guess. And looks like he might be back in the picture somehow. They don't really go into explaining that, so there's some interesting things going on. You know, I don't know if it's enough for me to go out and buy it, but I'll definitely keep reading this. You know, I'm surprised that they didn't even have Wonder Woman in this story. You know, so good stuff though. It's decent. I give it a 3.75.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out for next episode. I just didn't get a chance to check that one out. You might hear that for a couple of these here today. I was slacking on my reading here this week for once, although I still managed to read a bunch. I don't know how that happens. Supergirl number 2.
Yeah, so I'm just buying this for the covers. A little Art Gym cover here. You got Supergirl sort of busting out of her tracksuit. Well, what the heck is going on in this comic? I don't know. Supposedly, there's some character from Kandar. Well, I don't even want to say she escapes. She leaves Kandar somehow to go to Midvale, and then, you know, once she's out there, she kind of, you know, gets charged up by the sun and becomes Supergirl. And I think at one point Supergirl saved her, but kind of made it feel like it was just like, you know, a regular day. She felt that she should be special or something because Supergirl saved her. And then she decides to take over Supergirl's identity for whatever reason. And then, you know, I guess Supergirl shows up and they fight. You know, like where that Trinity story is, you know, good writing, it's decent art. Like I think the writing here is okay, but this art is just, I don't know, it's just not good. Like it's not bad, but
Yeah.
they try and make this story kind of fit into the whole universe, but you know, Supergirl sometimes seems to be such a mature person, and here she's written like a dope. So
I actually, I'll shout him out. We actually had somebody who commented on our last episode when we talked about issue number 1 in the comments on YouTube. This guy Low Hit, who I know, who I've met, and he subscribes to our channel, and he also does YouTube reviews and stuff like that for his weekly reads that he does. So he commented on the same thing. He said, I 100% agree with what you guys said about Supergirl number 1. He's like, I don't know, like you're reading that character in the Superman series or other series that are happening right now, and it's almost like this version of the character is not taking place in the same continuity in this book.
yeah, but they make such an effort to make sure it's in the same continuity. Because like I think there's some like the Titano Ape, so they're commenting what happened on Superman Unlimited when all the kryptonite fell, because now this ape has like kryptonite eye beams or something.
Yeah, but just in terms of the characterization, it
Yeah,
seems
and yeah, it just doesn't match. Like they could have done this in their own world, and like you know, they can put this in Harley Quinn. I think they maybe they can get those two to cross over because they're sort of in the same vibe, same frame, and I'm not enjoying either of those.
Yeah, no, agreed. What'd you give this?
Yeah, this is like 3
out of 5. Okay. And then next up, you got Deadpool and Wolverine #6.
Once again, this one's a decent story, but since it's sort of taking place in their own world, and you know what's sort of going on with, I guess, Wolverine and the Uncanny X-Men, it's just hard to find that this is sort of fitting into whatever's going on in sort of this Marvel world. You know, you have Wolverine running around in his own series doing stuff. You have Wolverine running around with the Uncanny X-Men doing stuff, and now he's here in North Dakota. Like, is this guy? I don't know how he's traveling or how this sort of fits in. I think the story's okay. If this was like part of an X-Men story or something, you know, whenever like Strife and all these kind of people come into play, usually it's a big deal. But now that this is sort of just a Deadpool Wolverine story that's sort of not in continuity, but in continuity, it just kind of takes everything. It makes the story sort of unimportant, let's say, you know. Like, I think, you know, Nick Fury shows up here, and it seems to be like a hard light. It's almost like an LMD, but it's made a hard light, and somehow this, I don't know, hologram freaking beats the crap out of Wolverine pretty easily. And I guess Wolverine's still under the spell of Strife, and he's sort of explaining what he's trying to do. You know, I like the characters that are in this. You know, Maverick shows up again, and he seems to be, you know, fighting on the good side now, trying to fix things. But it's just not working for me.
I've been liking this this series overall, but I did notice, and again, I didn't get to read this one. I did notice though in this issue we are getting an artist changed as well. Joshua Cassera is not drawing this one. There looked fine while I was going through it though, but he was kind of the main draw for me in this series. If they're gonna have different artists now moving forward, or for this next arc, however long this book is long for this world, I don't know if I'm going to be as interested in it. So I don't know. We'll see. But I got to say, like, he was the highlight of the series for me. So once I get around to reading this, we'll see how I thought of this one myself. Because, yeah, I can't see him being on this book for a long time if they're going to plan on doing this more than like 10 issues. That artist, he's really good, right? And I can't imagine that this book is bringing in a lot of readers, right? Just because it's like another Deadpool Wolverine book, right? So, what'd you give this, Chris?
Yeah, this is a 3.25.
Okay. Then I got Death of Silver Surfer #1, which I read this week. I got the Trad Moore cover, who's did Silver Surfer Black. He was the artist that did Silver Surfer Black with Donny Cates. So I figured it'd be cool to pick up the variant cover that he did. And he's not somebody you see do a lot of variant covers. So this may have been one to speculate on this month. I'm not sure. But you know, this was okay. I didn't pre-order any of the other issues. I kind of just did this one for the cover. This cover was cool too, though. They had some good ones for this.
Yeah, a lot of nice covers for this.
Yeah, Greg Pak wrote it, and I think it's Sumit Kumar. Sunit Kumar, I think is the artist's name. Did the illustrations on this, the art. Really nice looking art. I think, you know, that was also probably a draw I would hope for some folks here. And if you're not a big Silver Surfer fan, you know, this is you can just jump if you haven't read a lot of Silver Surfer. Although I don't know if there should have been some more context as to why he just happened upon this guy in this. Basically, some guy tries to kill him in this issue, and he isn't able to, and then he basically saves him with the power cosmic. And then when he wakes up and he's all busted up, Silver Surfer like brought him to his home, and he's like talking to whoever lives with him at his home. And he's just some dude that got tasked with trying to take him out, and he just fails in doing so. So even the apparent death of this character, it's not like it happens in this first issue. And maybe if they are going to kill him off, it will be at the end of this series. Or maybe the reason for the name of the title was that they thought he was going to die in this, and then he doesn't. I don't know. I'm somewhat interested to see where this story goes, but there also wasn't a lot here. I felt like about the character himself. Like, I think you can definitely pick this up and read it if you don't have a lot of experience with him. But I think if you do have a lot of experience with them, I'm not sure why this story would be of any importance to anyone so far. Like, yeah, like why you should stick with this. Like, basically, like there's a war going on and civil war going on in space that he's kind of in between, trying to like stop them from stop this from happening. And day one of the ceasefire, he basically just takes out everybody. Like, so, like the Silver Surfer, like his ways are weird. Like, they talk about him being the herald to Galactus, how all the lives that he aided in taking as a herald of the Galactus, he obviously has guilt about that. But like the way he looks at life and death is unlike other beings. So they kind of examine that a little bit in this series. So I don't know. There's some interesting stuff going on, but I don't know if I'm gonna read the rest. I like the Silver Surfer, but this didn't really catch me. Let's say it didn't really get me on the first issue. It didn't interest me to keep up with it. Oh yeah, then there's a Scar reference. It seems like in this issue, which is weird because he literally was just taken out in Imperial. So I don't know. The editorial maybe should do a better job of trying to connect this stuff, unless this happened. I didn't even see an editor's note where it's like this happens before Imperial, right? But anyways, I gave this. Oh, it makes sense because I think Greg Pak wrote that series of Scar. Well, there you go. Which happened so long ago. I'm pretty certain that was the writer who wrote that because he also wrote Planet Hulk. I think it was him, Jeff Parker. A couple of guys did that Hulk stuff around that period of time. So yeah. Anyways, I'll give this a 3.5. It was fine. Next up, Absolute Batman #9.
Oof. There it is.
Got the regular cover here. Great one. Yeah.
Like I wasn't reading comics when Bane sort of was on the scene. I've seen him pop up here and there. But as for an introduction to Bane, this is a freaking absolute Bane, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like, they kind of, I know if he's there brokering some sort of peace deal or messing up some sort of peace deal, and he just freaking pops that guy's head open. It's like, whoa. And then he gets the call, hey, we need you in Gotham. And then freaking boom, he's out in Gotham. And then I guess some stuff going on with like I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to be a picture of.
His head is somewhere where that
his head is like in the freaking middle there somewhere.
Under the T.
That's crazy. I guess Batman there, he gets his little crew together, and I guess Croc or whatever, Wayland has been taken, and they're trying to talk about trying to get him back. And I guess they get into a bit of history about these Arkhams, or these arcs that they're called, and I guess M is the 13th, and they're going by the letters. I counted them out. M would be the 13th or the 14th letter or something. So, some spiffy rating there. But anyways, once Bane shows up on the scene, though, he just beats the crap out of Batman, like handily. Batman sort of comes out with this, and he can read what he's doing, and he just does some sort of pressure point and takes out his arm. He goes, "Oh, but you could still fight me with, 2 arms and two legs and an arm," and then he takes out that. And then, I think Batman makes a comment that he goes, "Oh, you're just some juiced up, juice bag or something." He goes, "Oh, you want to see what this stuff does?" Yeah. And then he freaking activates it. And it's like, holy smokes, there we go. Let's go. I want to see what's happening in this series here now.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. Bane. I mean, and then again, I needless to say, Nick Dragata is a big part of that.
Yeah,
the art great in this. The design, the look of the character, and the way he was introduced in this one through the art, all top notch. I mean, it's been a couple of issues since we've had him, and now that he's back, I'm really glad that he was.
Yeah, look at that picture there. Freaking, he's like a giant, just freaking.
Yeah,
this Batman's crushed in his hands.
Yeah, great stuff. Good issue, and I'm looking forward to more about Bane as well. Anything else on this, or
no? That's a 4.5 for me for sure.
Ooh, 4.5. Yeah, I'm gonna go 4.25 on this. It's maybe 4.5 though. It was very good. It was very strong. DC versus Vampires World War V #10.
Let's see. That's a copy here. And I think we've been talking about this series, how it's been chugging along. And I know, man, they're putting some fire in they're putting some coal in the engine, I guess, because things are ramping up here now. I guess there's only a couple issues to go, so as it should, and it's moving true to form. Who is that, Mr. Miracle or Scott Free, or is that who the guy is with the baby?
That's the same person. Scott Free is Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's kind of I guess he's been rescued, or he's escaped from where was he, in Atlantis or something, and then who shows up to kind of take him back.
Oh,
and whoever, but a bunch it's almost like a coalition of the humans and vampires.
no,
And
it's
then even him,
Ghostmaker and that chick from the Raven, it looks like from Teen Titans. And yeah, Lobo. Yeah, you're right. A bunch of them. So yeah, there's a few of them that come up. But that was kind of interesting to see Ghostmaker there. Anyways, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and then even he's commenting, "Oh, if you guys are working together, something bad is going on." And then once he does kind of get taken back to wherever, I guess the headquarters of the human and vampire allegiance there, everybody's got something to say to him. They're like, "Oh, don't trust these people, don't trust that people." And I think they want him to. I guess the plan was that they would sacrifice him to Darkseid or Darkseid, so he'd leave the planet. And that they put together a war party or something to go talk to Darkseid, and Darkseid, he's just being Darkseid there. They got a few comments, or a bit of dialogue between Mr. Miracle and Darkseid, and that's just good stuff there. And once again, I don't know what happens here at the end. This is another big scene. He squishes something, and I imagine that's the baby.
Oh, I didn't get that. Interesting.
Well, he squishes something in his hand at the end, but even still, it's all the stuff with Deadman being the baby. Like there's a lot of fun banter between these characters, in this sort of dark, series. So that was kind of fun to read too. And I don't think they leaned into too much, but I thought it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed this series throughout. Like you said, we've been chugging along, and we're getting to its conclusion here. 2 more issues to go. I think this has been a very well paced and written series. The art's been great. Yeah, I have no complaints here. I think it's
with the new gods sort of kind of coming into the mix, thinking they're going to help save them, and it seems that they're siding with Darkseid.
Yeah, well, the new gods there. I guess it was the baby that he squished. I didn't even notice that. Yeah, the new god.
DC's got something against babies lately.
I know. That's true.
Kicking them, crushing them.
Absolute Superman. He threw him off of the roof the last issue. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh man. I didn't even think I caught that when I read this. Man, it's been a rough week. I think I was falling asleep while reading these this week. Yeah, that's why half of them didn't get read. No, I think this was I think the backstab of the new gods, though, I did not see that coming. So that was pretty crazy.
But I can understand where they're coming from. We can't have these vampires. You think about, the Marvel zombies, how they infected the universe, and or even like in Deceased, how that infected the whole universe. We can't let this, plague sort of leave Earth.
You know what? I'm just seeing where he was standing here in this panel. I think it was Mr. Miracle that he squished.
I don't know. He squished something.
Yeah, I
tried something. I was reading this one on tablets. I tried to zoom in on his hand to see what's in the other hand.
I think,
but you couldn't really tell. So he squished something. It's either Mr. Miracle or the baby, because I think that's what was in both his hands.
Miracle's in his left hand. If I'm facing here, his left hand in this panel, if you see there, the 4th panel. And then here, he's flipped the other way. His left hand would be on the side of the hand that's squished there. So I think it's Mr. Miracle he squishes here at the end. Yeah, that's what it looks like.
For somebody, that's for sure.
DC just didn't have the balls to kill that baby. How dare they? Save that for absolute Superman. Jason Aaron's like, hey, I got a baby death in my issue. Editorial's like, sorry, only one baby death per month around here. We're DC still, guys. What'd you give this?
I'll give it a 4. It's good stuff. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. 4 out of 5. Rob Liefeld's like, back in my day, they let me kill all kinds of babies when I worked for DC.
I want to kill a baby. I killed 5 babies.
That's my crappy Rob Liefeld impression. All right, Geiger number 15.
And then I left to form Image. And now I don't want to be part of Image either.
Screw those guys. Oh, man. Yeah, Geiger 50.
They wouldn't even let me into the party at the Deadpool movie.
That's right. He was pissed about that one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, rightly so.
Geiger 15.
Yeah.
I think this is a bit of an end of the arc.
Yeah.
And big things were happening in here too. And this one didn't fail to impress. Yeah, I liked it. Once again, another great start to a comic. I don't know who this guy is. This isn't he like the guy that's trying to chase down Geiger? He's leading the U.S. Army there or something. But the plan is Ashley, or Arden Ashley, is that her name, or Ashley Arden?
Yeah.
She wants to set off a bomb, a nuclear bomb, so that Geiger would have to sort of absorb all that fallout, and in the process, he would absorb the glow from her, kind of setting her free. And while I was reading this, I thought somehow they're going to stop this bomb from going off, and the way I thought it would play out was just totally different than what happened. The bomb actually does go off, and Geiger has to do what he has to do, and you can feel the intensity when he's trying to suck back all this radiation. And at the time, he does suck the glow out of Ashley Arden. But then, he seems to be suffering about it. And then I think to save him, she has to kind of take the glow back, or take back some of the radiation as well. And then it goes out to some of the other stories too, with Junkyard Joe.
Yeah.
And who's the other person? There's somebody else in there, isn't there?
Ned the Knight and
the
Knight. Junkyard Joe, and then and then Dr. Molotov is there too, right?
Dr. Molotov. I guess, and he ended up, once everything's all said and done, I guess the army sort of evacuated out of there. And doesn't he send Dr. Molotov with Junkyard Joe and just basically locks him back up again in the pit or whatever, in the dungeon that they were at? He seems to have enough food there. He's like, I'll take care of this. Junkyard Joe. And Ashley Arden, she seems to disappear. And I think in the last few pages, they have a little prologue with her. So she might be out in business. I hope these characters kind of continue on in this series, but it seems like it's an endpoint for all of them. And, it's just going to be, what's that? It's just going to be Tariq. Doesn't he go back home at the end or something? Like, I don't know where he...
No, so
family.
He had saved these kids. This might even actually have been in the original miniseries that they did before this ongoing series, which I don't know if you read or not. It would have been in the trade I think I gave you. I gave you a trade of it, right? So
I've not had a chance to read that yet.
So I think these kids he encounters in the first story, if I'm not mistaken. And I guess this is some sort of place of salvation that he found for them, like where they can stay. And I think that's why these kids are familiar with him. So I'm pretty sure these are kids that he saved either early in this series or the first series that they did before this ongoing series. He saved these children, and that's why they know him. And I believe that's where he goes at the end here, is like it's some place probably like The Walking Dead, how they have like certain areas where people have come together or like in a town or something like that, right? So the part that got me, though, is the part where he's like, hey, I brought some friends. And this fucking Ned the Knight, he's like, friends? And he like looks around. He's like, oh, he means me. Like, this guy, they make you feel for this guy so much. I just like, what a, you know what I mean? He's a good guy, this guy. I like this Ned the Knight character. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just, clearly been through a lot as well, but like just believes in this guy and like will do anything for this dude.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's just so gullible and like just a big oaf type of character, like, and he doesn't even know he's referring to him as his friend. Like, it's just, I don't know, it gets me, man. I'm like, this could end the night. Look at this guy. But the way they ended it, yeah, Ashley went to, like, she looks like she's fighting somebody at the end here. The government is
I guess that's trying to traffic people or something like that.
Yeah, the creator of Junkyard Joe is still still wanting to get him because he got away from him.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if what you said about you think this might be the end for all the. I think they're all going to cross paths again. These people but for now, yeah, absolutely. This is, I think, it for them. But the way that he left these two epilogues at the end here.
Yeah, I almost feel like they're the beginning of new series or something, which I hope not. I'd rather have them all in this world here.
Maybe, but I don't think like either any of those. Oh, maybe Ashley can do her own series. I don't know. I agree with you. I mean, they have had a Junkyard Joe miniseries that set up the character, and then he appeared in this, which I think worked well. But for him to have an ongoing series, I don't think it's necessary. No, I think they should just remain in this book. I agree with you. But this Ashley Arden, I mean, she's a big character now. Maybe they are thinking of doing something like that. I don't know.
I don't know. I could see a miniseries maybe, but I couldn't see an ongoing
Lady Geiger.
Yeah.
Like
she Geiger.
Yeah, she Geiger.
Geigeretta.
Geigeress. All right. What'd you give this?
I got a 4.25. I might not have explained it well, but it's still a great comic.
No, I think you did. Yeah, 4.25 for me as well. And also, yeah, like this is a good issue. I think it's a good jumping on point with the next issue, honestly, if you haven't been reading up till this point. And the other thing I guess I didn't mention, you didn't touch on with the Ashley thing, is she basically would have healed herself from absorbing all that energy there and the green, the radioactive stuff, and she would have been fine, right? But she went back and saved him instead, right? I don't know if you mentioned that. Like that was the whole thing about her cross the bear. Like
that surprised me too, that she'd go back to she was cured, I guess if you want to call it that. Yeah. And then she still went back to suck back the glow to save Tariq.
Right. Next up we got Magik number 6. Nice Villa Lobos cover.
Yep, that's one of the reasons I bought this.
Yeah.
But I think I can finally say I thought this was a good Magik comic.
Yes, I agree with you. Yes, this is the first one out of all the ones we read. Yeah, I really like
it. Had nothing to do with whatever was going on in the series before. I know they're cleaning up some of the liminals or whatever was happening. I get to see a bit of Psylocke and what's the name, Juggernaut there. But she gets called away by Madeline Pryor. It's good to see her. And it makes sense that she's in the Magik comic. We haven't seen much about Madeline Pryor and that their Limbo embassy. Looks like something's blown up there, and Limbo is sort of in rebellion against her because they don't like her because she's human. I thought they laid in a little bit too thick with how Magik is, or how Madeline Pryor thought that Magik is there to take the power away from her or something. And I just wish they had a freaking... Like, I think the art was decent here, but this could have been a fucking banger of a comic if they got a freaking...
Yeah.
If they had somebody in there, that like to be a little bit more cheese and cakey, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I thought it was a great story in there. And it looks like it's just some sort of one-shot type story anyways.
Yeah.
At the end, it looks like they're going to move back to the regular story, which is okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually really happy that this was a nice standalone issue because, like you said, we had dropped this. I think I dropped it with the 4th issue, so I haven't really been out of it that long because I kept buying them for the covers, despite not liking the series. But coming back for this one issue again because I liked the cover and being treated to a nice one-shot story about Madeline Pryor and Limbo. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, great issue. I really enjoyed this one. And it was cool for them to catch up. And because obviously Magik used to be the ruler of Limbo, she gave it up. And now Madeline Pryor is. And we all know how that came about through Dark Web. So, yeah, this was good. I liked this.
Yeah, they should have more Madeline or more Magik in Limbo. I have this more Madeline Pryor stuff. I might be tempted to buy more of this.
What would you give this?
I have 3.75.
Yeah, 3.75 out of 5. Next up, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 9. I got this very cover here from Jorge Fornes. Really nice cover. Really cool. No, no. I think this is by Juan Ferreira. This variant. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think Fornes
yeah,
did the A cover.
yeah. So that's what I always get it confused. I don't understand why the series artist is doing the C covers and
Yeah.
Jorge Fornes, who's a great artist, has
Yeah.
the A cover. I don't understand that. Anyways, I've been getting all the Ferreira covers because I love what he's doing on this book. I don't understand why he's the C cover though, but anyways, yeah, that's why I keep mixing it up. You're right, Chris. Yeah. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, there's another great issue. These
Yeah,
turtles are coming together, and I know who's this one focused on? Is it
it's the everybody but Donnie because he got
yeah,
not
he's still kidnapped.
yeah, and it's basically about Raph, Michelangelo,
Yeah,
and
the nunchuck guy. Yeah,
that's
like this scene here, just this reminds me of like Family Circus, where you got to follow the dotted lines and just see him kicking ass, and he gets to the top, and the other turtles there. It's like, well, I just came in through the door, or I came in through the window. I guess they realize that Donatello was not there, and it's some sort of trap, and they fight their way out of it, and they make it back to their sewer lair. And I think Raph is the nunchuck guy, right?
Raphael. Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I
No,
think
no,
he's
Nunchuck.
starting.
Sorry, Nunchuck is Michelangelo. It's my favorite turtle, Chris. Come on,
Sorry, my bad.
Raph is the angry one. The red is Raphael.
Yeah.
Orange is
So
Michelangelo. Sorry.
Michelangelo, I think the other two have sort of heard the voices of Splinter and the dead rat.
Yes.
Just still a crazy idea to begin with, and I'm on board with that crazy idea though, because now Michelangelo is starting to hear the cries or something, and
Yeah.
he's starting to believe in the dead rat, whether or not it's actually in the dead rat, and it's just the spirit of Splinter sort of floating around in there. But either way, this is just great stuff. The story that they're telling, and then they have Donatello. Yeah, he's in prison there, and the DA comes to, oh, I'm gonna go rattle his cage a little bit. And then it seems like the spirit of Splinter is still in Donatello, and he's kind of just breaking down that DA guy by kind of
Yeah.
revealing all the sort of history.
Yeah.
And isn't it Michelangelo that's in the subway? Like this just so many little things going on in here. And they meet those shark people.
Yeah.
And I guess they seem to be pretenders, but the one guy is wearing his TV show shirt, and then he goes to like the refugee camp there, and he thinks they're all fans of his TV show, and that's why they're wearing the shirt. And he's like, "Oh, where'd you get that shirt?" He goes, "Oh, if you go to the shelter, they're giving them out for free because we got so many of them, and nobody wants some." And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
you think that'd be something that breaks him, and then he freaking thinks that's hilarious.
Because
Artemis,
they're dirty mutants. That's why. No one
yeah,
wants that. Yeah.
the
Sorry.
Artemis is great. There's a few splash pages there, or I think there's a one thing where Donatello or Michelangelo sort of, I don't know, he's like, I don't know, he's like powered up or something, but he just kind of gets some bright colors there. Yeah, this one here, I think,
Yeah.
where he's kind of going through his singing the theme song of his show that he had and kind of just taking care of business. So it's good to see the three turtles fighting together. And but they still say, we're still missing one more, and yeah, we'll see where it goes. It's good stuff.
Uh, this I can tell you right now, the art's amazing in this story. Juan Ferreira for me is definitely in contention for my favorite art of the year so far. And when it comes to the end of the year and we talk about our favorite stuff and we give out the awards for some of our favorite art this year, he's going to be in the mix. I don't know if he's going to win. We still got, a few months to go here. But he's going to be in the mix. I know we're only about halfway through the year, but he's absolutely killing it on this book. He makes this book such a joy to read every time it comes out. Jason Aaron's doing a great job. It does feel like a more mature Turtles, the stories that they're telling. And yeah, I'm just like the whole rat business, like you said, is great that they've kept that alive while simultaneously introducing a villain with the mayor guy, as well as the fact that the society basically just hates them right now, and they're out there fighting for their lives every issue at this point. He's them against the world. It seems like all of New York City is against the Turtles. So I'm loving this book. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's honestly the best because I read the collections of the IDW Turtles I read basically all of the IDW Turtles stuff in paperbacks and hardcovers that I own, and I never picked it up monthly when it came out because I kind of missed the boat on the issues. So when they talked about this relaunch with Jason Aaron, one of my favorite writers, writing it, I had to pick it up in issues because I finally had the chance. And this is probably the best I feel like it's ever been. And we're only about 9 issues in. So like in terms of the IDW stuff, anyways, the Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird classic, older stuff, can't touch that. But I mean, like in terms of modern Turtles comics, this and like the Last Ronin are probably the best stuff I've read in recent years. So this is very, very good. What'd you give this, Chris?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this 4.25.
I'm gonna go 4.5 on this one. Yeah, it's I love with the artwork on this one. Like we're talking about Carrie Andrews lately. We're talking about even what's his name there, who is doing it on what was that last artist that we talked about? Oh, the guy Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, Steve McNiven, the Elektra, the Frank Miller style. This guy, like this, there's been a lot of really good art lately. I think this guy's I can compare it to those guys too, like the stuff he's been doing. It's really great.
I think it's a classic kind of comic book art style, like the Carrie Andrews. That's sort of like over exaggerated stuff.
Yes,
and and I guess the Steve McNiven is almost an under exaggerated grit, but this is still gritty, but it's still sort of in the realm of, I don't want to say mid comic artist, but it's just good.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, just his layouts, like you said, like the whole thing where he does that whole thing, like you said, like the family circus gag thing where you follow him through the building, and like, yeah, I've followed this artist for a while. This is I feel like the best he's ever looked. Like, I just think he's having a lot of fun with this book. You can tell. I just think the best stuff's coming out as a result. So, anyways, Transformers 21, last book we got here this week, Chris.
Ooh, yeah. Freaking Daniel Warren Johnson sure likes freaking beating the crap out of his protagonists, I guess. I don't know, his heroes.
Yeah.
You figure after reading that Moon is following us, he beat the crap out of the heroes, and things didn't end well for them. I'm worried what's going to happen for our Autobot friends here. They are getting freaking cooked all around. Now we have this one here. I guess you have the Decepticons have tracked down the Autobots, and the only good thing is they send Bruticus and the Constructicon.
Yes.
The Constructicon is Bruticus, and then there's the other one. I don't know what that one's name is. It's just a good thing those two aren't on the same page, and they end up fighting each other. I guess this new part here where Megatron turns into a gun and has Starscream kind of take control over Starscream and shoots stuff.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Crazy stuff happening in this book.
And then even with Optimus Prime, with his arm now, since that's Megatron's arm, somehow Megatron's exerting control over it, but it's not following his control, and
it's infected.
Doesn't he take someone out with that gun, or is he able to pull back? I know he's got somebody lined up there at one point.
Yeah, so he doesn't, but he ends up like coming close, and then basically he gets his team, the other ones, to shoot the arm off of him. And then when the arm comes off of him, Starscream comes
crawling away.
Yeah, Starscream comes, and doesn't he put the arm on him like Starscream, or like someone puts the arm on themselves at the end of this issue? I think it was Starscream that puts it on, because then he takes the gun, what's his name, who's the gun right now, Megatron, and shoots him with it at the end, but I think he's wearing his arm when he does it. If you look closely at the panels, like I was trying to figure out what was going on, but I believe that's what happened at the very end here. But crazy fighting going on in this.
Yeah, and then there's that stuff like Ultra Magnus is a prisoner of the army. It looks like they're doing some tests on him, and one T breaks free. Like that's a freaking another. That's another powerful level Autobot, and I don't know where this Autobot jet constructor or whatever jet kaiju came from, but I guess Megatron takes care of them in one blast. So, but a lot of good stuff, and even the stuff that's going on on Cybertron, which I wasn't a big fan of. They didn't really push too much into that, but I was happy to read what's happening up there too. So, this one's firing all cylinders as well.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, not much else to add to that. It's good stuff. I'm really enjoying it. And what is this, issue 21? I is
Yeah.
he done with 24? Is that confirmed? Because I remember there
I
was
don't know. I thought it was like a 20. He's been. I thought he's been at a few numbers here. He just keeps on pushing on, though. I hope he does, because
I hope Kirkman just keeps throwing him money, because that's fine.
yeah,
Yeah, like just keep him on the book.
once he's gone, though, I think this whole thing might just drop. But if they do have plans for this Energon universe,
Yeah.
unless they get some other writer that's got a good plan going.
You know what? I
you
wouldn't
know,
mind seeing Kirkman come in and do this, because like Kirkman is the one that kind of conceived a lot of this. So I think he could take over if he really wanted to, right? Maybe Void Rivals can come to an end, or come to an end soon.
I
And then
don't know.
I don't know. But I've really liked what DWJ has done in this. Even after he
Yeah,
left art duties, the book has really still sustained a level of really good fun quality. It's been good. What'd you give this?
I'll give it 4. Could
Same.
be
Yeah,
4.25,
4 out of
but
5.
yeah,
Yep.
I'll give it 4.
Good week though overall. Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good week.
seems
Uh,
it's a good week when the Image stuff comes out. They're kicking ass with their stuff there.
they are. They are.
Well, at
Uh,
least what we're reading from them.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, Chris, what are you looking forward to checking out next week?
Let's fire this up and see what's cooking.
This water truck?
I don't know if Wonder Woman's coming next week, but I saw a preview for that. Unless they got a different artist on there, that can change that comic status pretty quickly.
It is coming out next week. Yeah. Who's drawing it? I wonder.
Yeah, so this is for June 18th. Out of Marvel, we got the Ultimates 13. Looking forward to that. I'll probably read X-Men 18. I don't know if there's any variant cover I picked up from that. Nope. I'll probably be reading the Avengers 27, Amazing Spider-Man 6. I saw a preview for that. Hopefully, JR took his time with this one and has got something to go on. West Coast Avengers. I got that Bring on the Bad Guys Doom one. Maybe I'll give that a read. Emma Frost. I think I got a variant cover for that. I bought this one blind, the Joshua Swaby variant.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what some other stuff in there I might read. And for DC, yeah, Wonder Woman 22 is coming out. Like I said, I saw the preview. That wasn't looking too good. I know
I looked at the artist. I'm not good.
yeah.
Not
So
good.
I just hope that's a little one-off, giving Daniel Sempre a break
Yeah.
there, because he's been kicking ass on that series the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, not much for DC. Got Superman Unlimited too. Probably read that, see what's happening there. Maybe see what's going on with this Catwoman stuff. And DC, or no, Image. Oh yeah, Battle Beast #2. I think I'm in that still. G.I. Joe 8. That Exquisite Corpses too. I'll try and read that. Bug Wars 5. Try and read that as well. Phantom Road. Seasons 5. Whoa, it's a big week for him.
Image again. Great week.
I'm not sure if Dark Horse has something going on. I know there's a few Dark Horse books coming out every once in a while. No, nothing this week though.
No, Vatican City comes out, Chris.
Oh, Vatican City.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's another one that's been cooking.
Yeah, okay. So what do I got here? Bigger week. I got Absolute Flash, Aliens versus Avengers, the last issue.
Ooh,
That's
that one too.
That's going to be a huge one. Amazing Spider-Man, Batman and Robin Year One, Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Detective Comics, Emma Frost, the White Queen, Exquisite Corpses 2, G.I. Joe 8, Battle Beast 2, Godzilla versus the Avengers, Seasons, Superman Unlimited, Ultimates, Wonder Woman, and X-Men. Yeah, it's a big week. And then there's also some things digitally I'll read, like Vatican City, like I just mentioned to Chris, and DC. I don't know if there's anything else here. Let's see. No, I don't think so. I think that might be it for DC. Yeah, no, I think that's it for them. And then Marvel, quickly, if there's anything here, or Image. Bug Wars as well, yes. G.I. Joe, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for Image. Marvel. Avengers, I'll read digitally. I think that's it. Though. Maybe Fantastic Four Fanfare. I think that's got a Hickman FF story in it.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I'll probably read that. But yeah, I think that does it though. Weapon X I'm no longer reading. Apparently that's the last issue as well. Sorry, West Coast Avengers I'm reading digitally now too. So yeah, that's for sure too. Yeah, last issue of Weapon X. I mean, I almost want to read it because of that, but probably not. Yeah. All right, Chris, your favorite book of the week.
There are a few in there. And like I say, Image did put up a good fight. You know, the Transformers, Geiger.
Yeah.
But I got to give it to Absolute Batman. I love that one.
I assumed as much. Absolute Batman is my runner-up, but I'm pretty sure you can guess my favorite. I will say another runner-up though. You know, after we talked about it,
Turtles are in the runner-up there for sure. And I think go up. Spoiler alert.
Turtles. Turtles is my favorite this week. Yeah,
that's good. It's good though.
Yeah, it is. Absolute Batman is definitely neck and neck almost with it, though. I agree with you. Those were my two. Yeah, and then like you said, some good Image entries. Even Robin and Batman, Jason Todd #1 was strong. So good week. Yeah, good week overall. So that's always good.
Marvel's got to pick it up. Like Doom was okay, but there was still nothing. Nothing great here.
No, you're right. It's not a great week for Marvel overall. So, hey, so it's all cyclical. It'll all come back around, Chris. Well, all right, that's gonna do it for this week, though, guys. We'll catch you next week, as always, for another week of comics talk. And yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you always to Chris, and yeah, thanks everyone.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.